this movie is about men's rights. Because the way that men are being treated in Barbieland is terrible. And
I would say, so I think these are our allies.
Okay, so we're back.
Oh, we're back. What do you call it?
We're back.
the Barbenheimer continues.
All right, so now is you, George.
My movie is Barbie, because I'm a big masculine guy. I wanted to see Barbie. So let's watch the trailer.
Let's watch the trailer.
See, now this is something that escaped me. Like I
I
said,
come to your house tonight.
like Barbie, did she really have her feet? Were they positioned that way?
Yeah, if
Yes.
you took off her shoes, she would be.
She's
So
always in high
she could
heels.
not be barefoot,
Right.
literally.
No.
Yeah.
How
She couldn't be
hilarious.
barefoot. She couldn't be. She could put her heels down.
Because see, that's what I'm saying, like the sets. Is that how the Barbie house looked like?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
seriously, I don't know. See, I can't appreciate what they did as far as sets and everything. So.
Okay. Yes.
When my heart breaks,
Some things have been happening that might be related.
when my world shakes.
Cold shower, falling off my roof, and my heels are on the ground.
Yeah, this time when I was like, oh, what are we watching here?
I
Then I gotta get to it.
I was not looking forward to it.
You can go back to your regular life, or you can know the truth about the universe. The choice.
Hey, my Kenneth, did you see? We saw it yesterday.
The high heel.
The Beatles movie yesterday.
Okay.
Oh yes.
Ken McKinney's
Like the
character.
agent. Yeah, yeah.
She was great.
Yeah, being that cheerful, always smiley, but just a shark.
Yeah.
I'm coming with you.
Okay. Wow, this is the real world. What's going on? Why are these men looking at me?
Yeah, they're also staring at me.
Is this in the movie? Or this song?
That's impossible.
If this got out, this could mean extremely weird things for our world. This would be catastrophic!
We haven't played with Barbie since we were like 5 years old. Oh.
No one rests until this doll is back in a box.
Even if nobody else sings along.
Humans only have one ending.
Get that Barbie!
Ideas live forever.
Aqua.
Okay. All right then. So yeah, Barbie stars written by and directed by Greta Gerwig. I think somebody else co-wrote it with it. Oh yeah, Noah Baumbach. Stars, as you can see, Margo Robbie, Ryan Gosling, Simu Liu, the Ten Rings, Chang-Chi, his Ken, America Ferrera, Kate McKinnon, who was a great role, Michael Cera, Will Ferrell, Rhea Perlman, and Ellen Mirren. She's a narrator. So the movie is about, actually, this movie is about, men's rights. Because the way that men are being treated in Barbieland is terrible. And then finally Barbie realizes that way she's been treating all the Kens, So yeah, it's a movie about men's rights. Basically, I think it's really clever. I mean, obviously people, it's been controversial the way they've taken it to be, but I thought it was so clever that the way Greta Gerwig did that. She made it in reality about men's rights in Barbieland and women's rights in the real world. And basically the same kind of, she kind of created the same thing. Now, the movie is, I mean, when I first started watching, I'm like, oh man, what did I get us into? He's blowing my pen. So, but then I started getting into it. It's really funny. It's really funny. I had a lot of moments. I mean, myself personally, there's a lot of, lines that are thrown out there that the movie to me is clearly for mothers and their daughters. It's a movie that I think that you see about the thing going on with America Ferrera and her daughter, and I think the movie talks about how mothers and their daughters, how the Barbies connects them because they play together when the girls are, they're young and then of course they grow up and move on, and they're
pass it on to one generation to another.
So if I think it would make more sense, and you'll probably be more emotional to when mothers taking it, or some fathers taking their daughters and maybe some of them their sons too to the movie. So there's a couple of scenes that really crack me up. Like there's one where when Ken goes out into the real world and he finds out eventually about the patriarchy. And then he sees there's a huge truck going by, horses, he sees cowboys. And the music, if I recall, it's a 80s training montage music. And if you guys know what that is, it's in all those 80s movies like Rocky, Rambo, even like Jim Kata. There's always a scene, they do a clip where the guys are training for the big fight. And the Eye of the Tiger, that's a training montage. So, and I think they're playing a training montage movie when Ryan Gosling, his Ken realizes, wow, look at all this manliness, all this macho stuff, and becomes aware of it. So in the movie, he's becoming aware of how they're being treated relative to the real world. And also she becomes aware of how women get treated in the real world, similar to the way that she's treating men in Barbieland. So it was deeper than that. Then I think people wanted to go take it one side or another. What's that I have to say about it? Yeah. Will Ferrell was really funny in it. He's got a lot of funny lines. And there's a couple of well-known Barbies that I didn't recognize. Like one, Dua Lipa was a Barbie, and I never saw her. So there you go.
Yeah, because she probably didn't have a Barbie.
Yeah, right, exactly. So and it also has some teary jerky moments, like when she's meets her creator and stuff like that. So yeah, that's awesome. I actually enjoyed it.
Hold on.
Yeah, right.
Okay, the technical aspects are amazing. Like when at the beginning, when they create Barbie World, it's like Barbie World. It's like, that's thanks to 6-time Oscar nominees, Sarah Greenwood, right? And also set designer, and also 2-time Oscar winner, Jacqueline Duran for costume design. I mean, and of course, Greta Gerwig is the director. It was like, Barbie World was perfect. I mean, if you grew up with Barbie, you're not disappointed. This is like, yeah, that's kind of what Barbie looked like. That's what her world looked like. The movie was very funny. Margo Robbie was hilarious as Barbie. I feel like men would enjoy this movie also. But this is really a girls' movie, like G.I. Joe for boys. You know what I mean? It's a childhood doll that had meaning for you at that time. Barbie and her world are so familiar for little girls. Even though I
nostalgia for them.
Yeah, right, even though I didn't myself have a Barbie, I'm very aware of Barbie. Kind of like songs that you didn't even particularly like at that time. You know every word for it.
Right.
I mean, of course, I know Barbie and I know her world, right? It was like, hey, I didn't go, no, that's not right. That is right.
Yeah,
that's Barbie. Yeah. I was aware of her child, and I felt they captured her very well. That's quite an accomplishment. The story's great. First, we are in Barbie's world, and then Barbie enters our world. And Ken, because he has no existence without Barbie, that's why he's there, right? Why he comes with her. He's like, I don't have any existence without her. All of a sudden in our world, he, like George says, it's kind of almost the reverse of her Barbie world, right? So he's like, yeah. And she's like having a rude awakening. So, however, for Ken, it's very liberating. I never really knew the story of the creator of Barbie, who is
Rhea Perlman.
Ruth Handler.
Ruth Handler,
Yeah.
played by Rhea Perlman. It's a very sweet.
Rhea Perlman is talented.
It's a very sweet story, and Barbie was named for her daughter. And there's so much creativity in this story. Reminds me a little of Wicked. Okay, Barbie is like Barbie and Barbie Dreamhouse, right?
Right.
And out of that, they made a story. And I think that is so amazing that they took this Barbie and Barbie's Dreamhouse, and of course the other Barbies, and they made an actual really good story out of it.
And a clever spin on it too.
Yes. I thought one of the funniest lines of the movie is like when they're in Barbie world, there's a reporter who's asking Barbie about, hey, Barbie, where does Ken sleep? And Barbie looks confused and says, I don't know. I don't know where he sleeps. And
She knows nothing about Ken.
and in her world, that's kind of the same thing. In a way, it's a very sexist female world, in a way, right? Because she really doesn't know anything about him. She doesn't really, like I said, he has no existence outside of Barbie.
Right.
Right. And so I thought they did a great job of making a story out of this doll, you know, and a very timely story too. So, Patty.
Okay. Well, I liked it. I liked it more than I thought I was going to because I really didn't want to see this movie. I thought the acting was great because to say some of these lines with a straight face to me was like, that's acting.
Well, not a straight face, but a Barbie and Ken face.
Yeah, right. But I gotta say, it was way too woke for me. And I'm really sick and tired.
I didn't think it was woke at all.
Oh, yeah, that Rhea Perlman.
But that's a true story.
No, not the
way they were treating men.
No, that's I wrote too. It's like when we are truly woke, we won't have to be making movies about it and then giving these big speeches, not about how her daughter, that Barbie was named after her daughter, but all the rest of it. And this movie, I've noticed this lately. It's like they really make men come off stupid. I actually feel sorry for guys. It's like
that was the whole point.
It could have been really good if they had made the reality of the world. When Barbie went to the world and they made the reality be more real. Do you know what I mean? It's like they touched it, but they didn't really go into it and where she wants to go back to Barbie land, right? But yeah, I thought it had a lot of potential for that. But the woke part just turned me right off. It's like, because there's so many of these movies now like that.
Well, one thing is like about the woke part is like I thought the one thing I thought that was a little too long is the America Ferrera goes into a tirade about what's going on.
America was a
about
little
women, what's going on, and she goes into this long, like you know,
right.
and I thought that's a little too long actually. Now
Yeah.
because
But
now
it was still good, actually.
it was really good. It was
Yeah.
So. But the scene could have been cut a little shorter.
Yeah, because
point she
if
was
you
making.
want
I
to
would say
keep it
that's the
light,
only
because
woke
that's what
part of
Barbie's
it.
known for, is light, is the lightness of it, is to keep everything light, but say what you need to say, make it kind of deep, but do it in a clever way. So yeah, you'll see my script.
Well, I'm sort of with you on this one, only because I really didn't know what to expect. You know, I just thought, okay, it's a movie about Barbie, which I really don't know anything about, except, like you said, I'm exposed to it as a kid, so I knew what she was, what she represented at a time when I was a kid. Then, like 20 years down the road,
Right.
oh, feminists are getting on the case about Barbie. Oh, if she was a lifetime person or a real life size, she would just fall over. You know, that kind of
And she has
sexism
to
involved,
be a
blah, blah,
lawyer.
blah.
She has to be an architect.
And exactly. Well, that's sort of the thing I appreciated when I
Right.
saw this, because when I was looking at the cast, it said, like, for example, Margo Robbie plays stereotypical Barbie.
Right.
Meaning she's sort of what the original Barbie
The
looked like.
original
The
Barbie.
blonde
Right, the
hair,
classic.
Right.
white,
She
for
was
example.
great. She was great.
But then they had like President Barbie, Attorney Barbie. I mean, all these different
And the
versions.
messed up Barbie.
Well, see, that's where it got to me. The interesting part was the weird Barbie,
They
right?
didn't have a housewife Barbie. Do you notice that?
Well, they had the
That's a good
pregnant.
point, Patty.
Yeah.
They did have the pregnant Barbie, though.
That's not the housewife.
No,
Barbie.
but that's kind of stuff that surprised me, because this is what I sort of learned from the movie about the Barbie world. Like in Barbieland, because fortunately Helen Mirren starts off narrating, so she's explaining a lot of stuff. I said, I'm glad she is, because
Right.
I don't get this. Because one thing I did appreciate is the Barbies that didn't work. that appeared and then disappeared on
Yeah.
the show, right?
They were big.
One was pregnant Barbie, which shocked me. I never thought they would have one of those. That actually was a big shock.
Well,
for me.
I'm sure
Right?
it shocked a lot of people.
But then, because, I think Issa Rae was President Barbie, Alexandra Shipp was the writer Barbie. They even had Emma McKay playing the physicist Barbie.
Right.
But then the Kens, that's what made me laugh. There was Tourist Ken, Simu Liu was Tourist Ken, I didn't know and then Michael Cera shows up as this Alan.
Yeah.
See, now that's another thing. Was that supposed to be like a friend for Ken?
Friend of Ken.
That's what I didn't understand. That's what I was thinking. Who is he supposed to be now? So he was
That's
a
why you
toy
don't
that
know
was
him, because
that
he
was
did last
discontinued.
long.
Okay. So that's what sort of lost on me. The Barbie world, like you said,
Even
in Barbieland.
even John Cena was
the merman Ken. Exactly.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, so I can appreciate what they're doing, because another sequence is when they show the dresses that Barbie's wearing. And I'm assuming women are going crazy. Yes, that's exactly what that dress looked like. Da da da.
Oh yeah, they got that.
Like you said about the sets and all the production.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, this is sort of lost in me because I don't know. So to me, I'm watching while they're in Barbieland for that first part, it's like, oh my God, this is really boring to me. I'm learning a little about Barbie, but it's not capturing me.
Right.
But I will say this, I agree with you about the performances. I'm not going to fault any of these people, because that world they had to create is such an unusual world. And you're right. They all went all in.
Right.
And I'm assuming this is the writers and directors just saying, yeah, just do this way. Cause you just have to be cheerful. Don't forget, this is the kids' world. So everything has to be nice. Right. And you see that, which is why once stereotypical Barbie goes a little off, they tell her other Barbie friends, tell her, you need to seek the counsel of Weird Barbie, who explains to her what to do. And see, now Weird Barbie's the Barbie I just really enjoy, because
she was most interesting.
I think that's what my sister did too, was she cut Barbie's hair and stuff like that, right?
Oh, they did that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you realize that's what kids do with dolls, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that and the associated, it's because the person who owns you in the real world is not happy or whatever. Now, once she gets to the real world, it's like, okay, again, I'm not finding anything funny. And I usually like these fish out of water stories. I really like that. And I thought, okay, they're sort of doing a good job. But it wasn't until the America Ferrera character. I don't know if this is a, spoiler, but what I appreciate about it is because Barbie confronts what she thinks is the person, this young girl, and she just lays, like you said, out the woke speech about the teenage girl. Why would we want you? Because you're this you. This is what you represent of womanhood, and that's not what the women or young girls like me should have as
because of shape, this kind of bodies and all that.
Exactly. And so then you find out it's not her; it's her mother, and that's what I thought intrigued me at that point. That's sort of what pulled me in. See, all the America Ferrera stuff is what I enjoyed, because I thought, it's not about kids, because I said, this movie did not seem like a movie for kids for me. Right. It really didn't.
No,
this was a movie I thought they're really aiming things at adults, like all the commentary.
But it's also for kids. I mean, it's anybody who grew up with Barbie.
Well, no, I think you're right. That's I said. That's why the first, the first part of the movie was really boring to me, because I think that's what people, when they play Barbies together, I'm assuming, right? Oh yeah, let's go dancing, let's go swimming, let's, do all that stuff, right? And in fact, they even have the people pose, doing that stuff in that kind of doll pose. So once they get to the real world, it's like, okay, this is going to be sort of interesting. And for me, it wasn't. In fact, America Ferrera, that's the only thing that sort of me drew. So once they go back to Barbieland, it's like, okay, what's going to happen? Because now it's like, okay, this is going to be this, how would I call it? This equality movement, right? Because the thing is, see, this is what I think is wrong with our society. I don't think women want equal rights. I think they want to dominate it the way the men dominate it. That's how I've always seen it. Everybody wants to dominate it. It has nothing to do with equality. Whereas I wish people would just think, right, forget about your sex. Whoever's most qualified gets a job and gets that top pay or whatever.
But nobody's ever seen equality. So therefore, even at the beginning of feminism, I noticed, do you remember this? Women were imitating what they thought masculine good qualities were, and they weren't. Yeah. It was things like being aggressive, being pushy. And so on the
Well,
other
but-
side,
Okay, go ahead.
I
Yeah,
just
on the other
forgot.
side. I'm
Never
sorry.
mind, I just forgot.
No.
Go ahead.
Well, I think, like I said, I think that there's the feminist movement and there's the suffragette movement.
Yeah, we're suffragettes.
And the feminist movement came out of the suffragette movement. But what I think is they sidelined it just like they do everything. Like Martin Luther King all of a sudden is now, he was actually a very revolutionary person in his time.
Mhm.
And they made him, and guys that were trying to kill him now say, yes, Martin Luther King, right? You know what I mean? It's like they make them almost kind of find it genderless, like
Right.
not affected, like not. So they managed to corral them into their narrative of things. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's like, so it's like, that's, well, I forget where I was going with that. What we were talking about. Oh, yes. So, yeah, feminism and suffragettes wanted the vote, kind of what you're saying, Patty. And they also wanted security and rights and recognition for the jobs that women do in society.
Yeah.
Like
There wasn't
raise,
like you didn't
raise
have to
the
be an
children.
architect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I was telling Patty, if you're having children at 18 and they take about 20 years, an adult human being takes about 20 years, you know, you're ready to start your life at what, 40? in male world,
Yeah.
that doesn't work.
Yeah, I think at the beginning, feminists used a male guideline, and it wasn't really well thought out. That's the word I'll use, because it was like burning the broads. I remember the 60s. I remember thinking that was the most stupidest thing in the world. Why the hell would you do that? But everything was a symbolism then.
Right.
But
But they also
I always identified with suffragettes because it was for all women to be. You're right,
Right.
security.
to
and-
have recognition
you didn't put a name
for
on it.
what
You didn't
they.
have to be an architect or a lawyer.
But the trouble is raising children, and at the time of the suffragettes, there was no such thing as birth control, right? So generally, if you're a human being, you're going to have a baby at some point because you're a sexual creature,
Right.
right? And so somebody has to take care of them. So you spend most of what you would society would consider your productive years
Mhm.
raising children. And it's like, and then what?
Now you're pregnant, Barbie.
And then your husband runs off with a 20-year-old.
Right.
Your job is over, but you have no experience in that world.
And 40, even now, is considered, well, that's the cutoff time. Now you retire and
You know,
die.
you know,
Right.
but I'm just saying that, yeah, I think that Barbie doesn't deal with those issues.
Yeah.
Barbie,
well, people
Okay.
forget
but
too.
Barbie
What?
also takes a sympathetic look at male issues too, which I think is pretty good.
Mhm. No, and that's
Yeah.
what Patty brought up, is that why are all the men sort of stupid? Right?
Well, they-
because what I liked, like what you had just said about how the women were aggressive and this and that. And see, and that's why I said, but that's also part of society that I think
Absolutely.
you have to look at, because, for example, if you're a tough negotiator, that's what they say about a man. If you're a woman, oh, she's a bitch.
Bitch, right.
Right? I mean, I really sort of grew up with that mentality too during the 70s and 80s. I remember people making
It was
references
really
like that.
big then.
So then I do also remember that most of the women who were sort of gone up to whether academia or whatever, that they always sort of wear pantsuits.
Right.
They sort of dress sort of mannish as well, right?
They copied what they knew as successful,
Exactly.
but not the right traits.
But they still modeled themselves after sort of a male.
But that's a male world.
because they didn't
Exactly.
That is a
Right.
male world.
It's taken.
And then-
it's taken more time to realize there is strength in what a woman energy and talent.
Because that's
Right.
another thing I will also say too about especially about the suffragette movement. Because one thing also of women being treated at that time period, if a woman got pregnant, it takes two to make a baby.
Yeah.
The woman's the one who was stigmatized. The
Right,
male,
totally.
fine, nothing.
Yeah, I know.
And still that mentality, it's sort of leaving now, but you can still see it's still
Yeah.
sort of that way. But in this context, that's what I was going to say. That, for example, Will Ferrell is running the company. They're all men on the board as
I
well.
know that, yeah.
Barbie,
And this
yeah.
made me, because like Ruth Handler, if I got my history right, I think she's one of the founders of Mattel.
She is the founder of,
Oh, okay.
of Barbie.
Well,
I don't know about
she
Mattel.
created Barbie, but no, she was the founder of Mattel.
Mattel.
Oh, okay.
The company that
Okay.
that sort of basically is that
Right.
Barbie belongs to, right?
Yes.
And made other toys as well. But the fact that a woman is a co-founder and creator of this toy, even at her time period, she's still creating them as these traditional models. Which is why I think that is true about that scene at the end, where you see her pop in, and then she does talk to Barbie. I actually did appreciate this. In fact, I did think that was touching as well. See, that's the thing I found more touching than even the America Ferrera, because that's what drew me in about that. This is her, is like, because in hindsight now, she can look and see what everything's become. But she really lets Barbie know how much she loves Barbie for who she is.
But
I thought that's what that's where it said, that's what this message should be. Ken, tourist Ken,
But
all
I
these
think
bars.
the reason that Barbie was so successful, that there is a part of girls that like that. That I remember, I wasn't a Barbie person, but I remember when I was a kid, I used to like those cutouts. And you cut out dresses and you put them on the cutout
My
thing,
sister
right?
had those.
I loved them.
The point of it is
I think, and I didn't know any boys who were actually interested in that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So
Dressing up a doll.
I think that there is a certain separation of interests that girls and boys have. That we want to say girls shouldn't have that interest, but they do.
But also, but it's also what they call strength, because they consider boys playing with G.I. Joes and becoming whatever strong, whatever, they consider that strength. But they don't think of girls playing with Barbies or raising children or having children as strength. It's just more like the definition of things.
Yes.
They define that as also
it's male.
when they think about strength, think of male. So a woman being strong, they think of Wonder Woman. They don't think of somebody actually raising a little bastard, whatever.
Like maybe 5 of them by herself.
So,
Alina's to me is the perfect woman.
Who?
Alina's. She is all the above.
But she has a huge family structure to support her.
I'm not saying that, but she still has
Of all her other sisters, basically, right?
Yeah.
All the females.
I would say more like a cheetah is a lone person, a lone woman, female.
I'm going to
by
stick
herself.
with Linus. Linus is still my thing.
Linus has a huge structure.
You're right, yeah.
And also, the movie's kind of a lot of controversy, but remember, it's still a movie about a doll. Nobody was crying when He-Man came out.
Says that.
Nobody was saying, hey, nobody was crying about Dolph Lundgren and He-Man.
Shall we score it?
And I had He-Man, Optimus Prime.
Yeah,
but don't forget, She-Ra came right after He-Man.
Right, exactly.
I was so pleasantly surprised by Barbie. I thought I was going to hate it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
She cried.
Yeah, I cried. When Rhea Perlman was giving her thing, I was like, I cried. I was like, I don't
puking.
like crying at movies. I don't consider that a good thing, right? That they make, I feel like I'm being manipulated. But I still thought that it was a really great movie. I'll give it a 9.
Well, okay.
I'll give it a 6.
I gave this a 4.
I might go down there with
I have
you.
moments too where I laughed out loud and I had a little choking throat, the frog in the throat moment. So I give it a 9 also. So we'll be back.
Back.